all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises due, peace and blessing to the elect of Israel who are out there practicing and following the law of liberty. So, we are going to continue in the apocalypse of Abraham. I think we left off last in chapter 19. So we're going to pick it up in chapter 20. And hopefully, I think this might be the last video. Hopefully, I think this thing, I think it has 30 chapters, but we'll see. We'll try to get through this. Let me get to chapter 20. Chapter 20. Okay. All right. And the eternal mighty one said to me, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Look from on high at the stars which are beneath you, and count them for me, and tell me their number. And I said, Would I be able? For I am but a man. And he said to me, As the number of the stars and their hosts, so shall I make your seed into a company of nations, set apart for me, and my lot with Azazel. And I said, Eternal one, let your servant speak before you, and let your fury not rage against your chosen one. Behold, before you led me up, Azazel abused me. Why then, while he is now not before you, have you set yourself with him? And he said to me, Look now beneath your feet at the expanse and contemplate the creation which was previously covered over. On this level, there is the creation and those who inhabit it in the age that has been prepared to follow it. And I looked beneath the expansion at my feet, and I saw the likeness of heaven and what was within. Then I saw there the earth and its fruits, and its moving ones, and its spiritual ones, and its host of men, and their spiritual impieties, and their justifications, and their pursuits of their works, and the abyss, and its torment, and its lower depths, into perdition which is in it. And I saw there the sea, and its islands, and its animals, and its fishes, and Leviathan, and his spouse, and his lair, and his den, and the world which lie upon him, in his motion, and the destruction of the world because of him. And I saw there the rivers, and their overflows, and their circles. And I saw there the tree of Eden in its fruits, and the spring of the river flowing from it, and its trees, and their flowering. And I saw those who act righteously, and I saw in it their food and rest. And I saw there a great crowd of men, and women, and children, and half of them on the right side of the portrayal, and half of them on the left side of the portrait. And I said, Eternal mighty one, what is this picture of creation? And he said to me, This is my will for existence and design, and it was pleasing to me. And then afterward I gave them a command by my word, and they came into being. And whatever I had determined to be had already been previously depicted and stood before me in this, and you have seen before they were created. And I said, O Lord mighty, eternal, who are the people in the picture on this side and on that? And he said to me, These who are on the left side are a multitude of tribes who were before and who are destined to be after you, some for judgment and justice, and others for revenge and perdition at the end of the age. Those on the right side of the picture are the people set apart for me of the people that are with Azazel. These are the ones I have destined to be born of you and to be called my people. Chapter 23. Look again at the picture. Who is the one who seduced Eve and what is the fruit of the tree, and you will know what will happen, and how to your seed among people in the last days of the ages. And what you cannot understand, I shall make known to you what was pleasing to me, and I shall tell you the things kept in my heart. And I looked at the picture, and my eyes ran to the side of the Garden of Eden, and I saw there a man very great in height and terrible in breadth, incomparable in aspect, entwined with a woman who was also equal to the man in aspect and size. And they were standing under a tree of Eden, and the fruit of the tree was like the appearance of a bunch of grapes of vine. And behind the tree was standing, as it were, a serpent in the form, but having hands and feet like a man, and wings on his shoulders, 6 on the right side and 6 on the left. And he was holding in his hand the grapes of the tree, and feeding the two of whom I saw intertwined with each other. And I said, who are these two entwined with each other? Or who is this heaven? Or who is this between them? Or what is the fruit which they are eating? Mighty eternal one. And he said, this is the reason of men. This is Adam. And this is their desire on earth. This is Eve. And he who is between them is the impiety of their pursuit for destruction, Azazel himself. And I said, Eternal One, why then did you adjudge to this one such power to destroy humankind by his works on earth? Good question. And he said to me, hear, Abraham, those who desire evil, and whom I have hated as they are doing these works, over them I gave him power, and he is to be loved by them. And I answered and said, Eternal Mighty One, why did you will to do so that evil is desired in the heart of men? Since you are angry at what was willed by you, who does a bad thing according to your design? Chapter 24. And he said to me, such is the near future of the nations of people, which are set apart for you after you from your progeny, as you will see in the picture, what is destined to be with them. And I shall tell you what and how will be in the last days. Look now at everything in the picture. And I looked and saw there what had been in the world before. And I saw, as it were, Adam and Eve with him, and with them the evil adversary and Cain, who acted lawlessly because of the adversary, and the murdered Abel, the perdition brought and given to him through the lawless one. And I saw their fornication of those who desire it, and its defilement, and their jealousy, and the fire of their corruption, in the lower depths of earth. And I saw their theft, and those who hasten after it, and their judgment of retribution, that is, of the great court. And I saw there 2 bareheaded men against me, and their shame, and the harm against their fellows, and their retribution. I saw their desire, and in its hand the head of every kind of lawlessness, and its torment, and its dispersal committed to perdition. Chapter 25. I saw there the likeness of the idol of jealousy, as a likeness of a craftsman work, such as my father made, and its statues was of shining copper, and a man before it, and he was worshiping it. And there was an altar opposite it, and youths were slaughtered on it before the idol. And I said to him, what is this idol? And what is the altar? And who are those being sacrificed? And who is the sacrificer? And what is the beautiful temple which I see, art and beauty of your glory that lies beneath your throne? And he said, hear, Abraham, this temple and altar and the beautiful things which you have seen are my image of the sanctification of the name of my glory, where every prayer of men will dwell, in the gathering of kings and prophets, and the sacrifice which I shall establish to be made for me among my people, coming from your progeny. In the statue you saw is my anger, because the people who will come to me out of you will make me angry. And the man you saw slaughtering is he who angers me. And the sacrifice is the murder of those who are for me a testimony of the close of the judgment and the end of the creation. Chapter 26. And I said, Eternal Mighty One, why did you ordain it to be so? Take back those testimonies. And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, and understand what I tell you, and answer whatever I ask you. Why did your father Terah not listen to your voice and abandon the demonic idolatry until he perished, and all his house with him? And I said, Eternal Mighty One, evidently because he did not will to listen to me, nor did I follow his deeds. And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, as the will of your father is in him, as your will is in you, so also the will desired by me is inevitable in coming days, which you will not know in advance, nor the things which are in them. You will see with your own eyes what would be with your seed. Look at the picture. Chapter 27. And I looked and saw, and behold, the picture swayed, and a heathen people went out from its left side, and they captured those who were on the right side, and the men, women, and children. And some they slaughtered, and others they held with them. And behold, I saw 4 hosts coming to them, and they burned the temple with fire, and they carried away the holy things that were in it. And I said, Eternal One, the people you have received from me are brought away by the multitude of people, and some they are killing, and others they are holding as sojourners. And they burn the temple with fire, and they are capturing and destroying the beautiful things which are in it. Eternal One, if this is so, why have you afflicted my heart, and why will it be so? And he said to me, Listen, Abraham, all that you have seen will happen because of your seed, who will provoke me, because of the idols and the murder which you saw in the picture in the temple of jealousy. And it will be as you have seen. And I said, Eternal Mighty One, let the evil works of impiety not pass by, but make commandments in them, since you can do more than the just works of this. And he said to me, Rather the time of justice will come first with the righteousness of kings, and I shall adjudge to them with justice those whom I earlier created in order to rule thence over them. And from those kings will come men who will trouble them, and I made known to you, and you saw. Chapter 28. And I answered and said, Mighty Eternal One, you who are sanctified in your power, be charitable to my request. As for this reason, you made known to me and showed me divine secrets when you have brought me up unto your heights. So for the same reason, make it known to me, your beloved, what I asked, whether what I saw would happen to them for long. And he showed me a multitude of his people, and said to me, For this reason, my anger at them will come through the 4 hosts which you saw, and through them will come retribution from me for their works. And in the 4th host there are 100 years, and also 1 hour of age. And for 100 years it will be in evil circumstances among the heathen, in an hour in their mercy, in agreement as among the heathen. And I said, Eternal mighty one, how long a time is an hour of the age? And he said, I set 12 periods for this impious age to rule over the heathens and over your seed. And what you have seen will be until the end of time. And reckon, and you will know. Look into the picture. Chapter 29. And I looked and saw a man going out from the left side of the heathen. Men and women and children, great crowds, went out from the side of the heathen, and they worshipped him. And while I was still looking, those on the right side went out, and some shamed this man, and some struck him, and some worshipped him. And I saw that as they worshipped him, Azazel ran and worshipped, and having kissed his face, he turned and stood behind him. And I said, Eternal mighty one, who is this shamed and struck man, worshipped by the heathen with Azazel? And he answered and said, Hear, Abraham, the man whom you saw shamed and struck, and again worshipped, is a laxity of the heathen, for the people who will come from you in the last days. In this 12th hour of the age of impiety, and in the same 12th period of the close of my age, I shall set up the man from your seed which you saw, and everyone from my people will finally admit him. And while the saying of him who was as if called by me will be neglected in their minds, and that you saw going out from the left side of the picture, and those worshiping him. This means that many of the heathens will hope in him, and those of your seed you saw on the right side, some shaming and striking him, and some worshiping him. Many of them will be misled on his account, and he will tempt those of your seed who have worshipped him. In the close of the 12th hour, in the ceasing of the age of impiety, before the age of justice will start to grow, my judgment will come upon the heathen who have acted wickedly through the people of your seed, and who have been set apart for me. In those days I should bring upon all earthly creation 10 plagues through evil and disease and the groaning of bitterness of their soul, as I shall bring upon the generations of men who are on it, the earth, because of the anger and the corruption of their deeds, with which they provoke me. And then from your seed will the righteous men be left, kept by me, by number, hastening in the glory of my name to the place prepared beforehand for them, which you saw deserted in the picture. And they will live, being sustained by the sacrifices and offerings of justice and truth in the age of justice. And they will rejoice over me forever, and they will destroy those who have destroyed them, and they will rebuke those who have rebuked them by mockery, and those who spit in their faces will be rebuked by me. When they will see me joyfully rejoicing with my people, and receiving those who return to me in repentance. See, Abraham, what you have seen, and hear what you have heard. Know what you have known. Go to your lot, and behold, I am with you forever. Chapter 30. And while he was still speaking, I found myself on the earth, and I said, Eternal mighty one, I am no longer in the glory in which I was above, but what my soul desired to understand, I do not understand in my heart. And he said to me, Abraham, I should tell you what your heart desired, but you have sought to know the 10 plagues which I prepared against the heathen. And I prepared them beforehand after the passing of the 12 hours on earth. Hear what I tell you. It would be thus. The first, distress from much violence. The second, the fiery burning of the cities. The third, destruction of cattle by pestilence. The fourth, famine in their native land. The fifth, destruction in their domains through the ravage of the earthquake and sword. The sixth, hail and increase of snow. The seventh, wild beasts will be their grave. The eighth, famine and pestilence will take turns in their destruction. The ninth, punishment by the sword and flight in distress. The tenth, thunder and voices and ravaging earthquakes. Then I shall sound the trumpet from the sky, and I shall send my chosen one, having in him one measure of all my power, and he will summon my people, blamed among the heathen, and I shall burn with fire those who mock them, ruling over them in this age, and I shall commit those who have covered me with mockery to the reproach of the coming age, since I have destined them to be food for the fire of hell, and ceaseless soaring in the air of the underground depths, the contents of a worm's belly. For those who do justice, who have chosen my will and clearly kept my commandments, will see them, and they will rejoice with joy at the destruction of the abandoned. And those who follow after the idols and after their murders will rot in the womb of the evil one, in the belly of Azazel, and they will be burned by fire of Azazel's tongue, since I waited until they came to me, and they did not want it, and they glorified an alien, and they joined one to whom they have not been allotted, and they abandoned the prevailing Lord. Therefore hear, Abraham, and see, behold, your seventh generation will go with you, and they will go out into an alien land, and they will be enslaved and distressed for about 1 hour of impious age, and of the people whom they will serve, I am the judge. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So that concludes the Apocalypse of Abraham. I hope that was a blessing to you. Like I always say, listen to these videos a couple of times if you can, and may God bless.